This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Call this special session of the Lovington City Commission to order. Shannon.
Mayor Roberts,
Here.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Here.
Commissioner White. Here.
Commissioner Bowles.
Pray for me. Please bow your heads. Lord, we ask that you honor us with your presence and guide us with purpose as we come before you today. Lord, bless us. Bless the people of our community, our first responders, city staff. Bless our city commissioners with guidance and knowledge to do what is good and right for our community. Thank you for your many blessings today and always. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag, sustained in Mexico, the sea of symbol, perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. Take a motion on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Motion and second to approve it as submitted. Any discussion? Hearing none. Shannon, roll call or vote, please.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Does any commissioner or staff have anything they want to report?
Yes, sir.
Well, hang on. I'll just- You,
No, I wanted to ask, because I know last time when we did a special meeting, it just basically pertained to the special meeting. We didn't have public comment and everything involved with it.
right,
And I'm just asking, so I just want to make sure we're going by the rules.
Well,
There's no.
there's nobody here and,
They're all listening.
oh, I know. But I'm gonna get there and I'll be like, how did we have her, or have them remove the public comment? There's nobody here.
Okay, just asking, just want to make sure we're good.
So all I can say is I apologize for missing the last two meetings. Been under the weather, so I'll try not to let that happen.
We're glad you're back.
No reason to have peace because it's his birthday.
I know.
Hey, it was,
Well, it's been a good birthday.
it was not. It was not. I can assure you.
I called you out on it, but it's got me.
Oh, and to keep my end of the deal, I told Mr. Bolt that I would continue to tell people to shop local,
Yeah.
bank local, and eat local. Because since I was a wise heifer, and made a mockery of his campaign, I will continue to do that for at least a couple more weeks till I decide to get sick again.
I'm glad that you put it up. So I'm glad that you put it up there. Because I see that our GRTs are holding steady.
So it must be from your
So it must be
consistency.
from and yours. So I applaud you.
I think it's mine, but it's from your consistency. I'm just gonna take the trophy for it. There you go. Other than that, I don't know how to.
All right. Well, I'll move quickly. Shannon, anything?
No, sir.
Chief?
All I have is, New Mexico Department of Public Safety has awarded us $11,800 to, I guess, put together it's funding for a 5-personnel honor guard, which will fund the uniforms, guns, flags, and other equipment.
Possible take it. That's right.
That's right.
Questions? Hearing none.
Do you have any volunteers? Is there anybody that is interested?
No.
Oh.
You got Grady, right?
Yeah, it's it. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna put a letter out for it. That's it. We don't have enough people to send all of them, but,
That was another concern, but
they would send two. Because most of that stuff, I don't know if you ever watched that movie, Taking Chance. It's a military movie, and it's kind of the same, kind of falls under the same line as when you have a fallen officer, the honor guard stays with the body until they're laid to rest.
Oh, wow.
And usually it takes multiple communities to hold that 24-hour stand next to the body and never let them be alone until they're laid to rest.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I understand that. Okay. Wow.
Where's your vote?
Oh, I have to put out there to the people in the audience, thank you for being there. And it's important that you have it accountable for we open. It will definitely make a difference. Thank you.
And you never looked so good.
So quiet.
I'm good.
That's right.
I'm good.
Mr. Gaines.
As far as the commissioning goes, no, sir.
Okay. Ms. Cooper.
You'll never know.
All right, city manager.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you to Commissioner Trujillo and the Prices for cleaning up and mowing outside City Hall this weekend. It looks great. We appreciate that. Robert Perez and I conducted a debrief this morning regarding the break of a 10-inch water main at 9th and Avenue D last Friday. Just as after a critical incident in the police department, the purpose of a debrief is to analyze procedures and learn for the next time. Two things that I personally learned from this incident is that we can do a better job with the dissemination of information. While I think I do a pretty good job at keeping the commissioners informed and updating the city Facebook page, not everyone has Facebook. I certainly wish I didn't. And a lot of different entities rely on us for water and other services. Thus, incidents like this, on Friday, for incidents like these, I put together a critical incident contact list of entities that I or my designee will keep informed. And this would include the mayor, the commissioners, the hospital, the schools, Lovington Healthcare, the county manager, the district court judicial complex, the magistrate court, the city court, county emergency management, senior center, library, MBB, city hall, social media, and print media. Additionally, I have asked Cassidy to become a public information officer for the city to assist me in the dissemination of information and managing our media content. She agreed and will be trained in that respect. And I will note that as of today, both the water and wastewater departments are again fully staffed.
Getting all those people hired. Yeah, ready for that.
Finally, as we're here for your approval of last year's audit, I thought I'd just provide a little snapshot of our past audits, kind of how we got to where we are. So this is our last 8 audits, and you'll see the number of findings here.
What is this again?
Our last 8 audits.
It's like a pinball game.
So the big no-no in audits is material weakness. And if you know, that's the blue line. And if you know, even in the good years, we always had material weaknesses, which peaked in 2020. But in the last 2 audits, we've had none. So that's a good sign. Next one is significant deficiencies, which it hit its highest of 10 last time. It's come down, 2 years ago. So that's come down. Repeat findings are never good, and this is something we really have to work on because these are things that come back to haunt us every year. So we don't correct them, and they just keep cropping up again. You know, new issues are going to pop up here and there, but so the repeat findings are really what we have to work on. And the only thing that really ticked up was the other, and those are the small things. So I think by and large, it shows you that things are getting better. The bad stuff is non-existent or coming down. And just wanted to kind of put it in perspective for you.
It's a great graph, but man, it makes absolutely no sense.
It's totally
It's all over the place.
It's a beautiful chart.
It's gorgeous, but it looks like a 3rd grader drew it.
Well, that part is right. That part's right.
You would assume that we would be consistent in at least some things, but it's like we fix one thing and we jump somewhere else and miss out. So
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that, well, right there towards the last 3 years.
Yeah.
you can say,
And we've made turnovers huge, COVID. Certain things like the W-2s and the I-9s, which have been repeat findings, I think I mean, we may catch a few next year, but we pretty much eliminated them. So things like purchase orders, buying stuff before you get a purchase order, we've been hammering the department heads not to do that. I think Annette's got in this letter that the last time they did a sample, 58% of our purchases were made before the department head had a purchase order. And now we're down to about 6%. So don't buy stuff before you get a purchase order. So we're trying to train the department heads. That's going to take a little more time, but some of these repeat findings are really, trying to eliminate, and we want a clean audit in 2 years. Jal did it, so we can do it.
And I think that, like, the thing too is we're still finding out invoices that, who knows who they were supposed to be doing, all of a sudden, the vendor all of a sudden says, you owe us money. And
Yeah, from 2 years ago.
so we don't have a purchase order because, we didn't.
Well, we had people that didn't feel like they needed to get one,
And there's nowhere to look and there's no one to ask.
I wonder if they showed where they signed off, like whoever's head of that department showing that they're signing.
We check with all the department heads before we pay anything, that it's full, do whatever, they have to prove that it's
Yeah, that it's legit.
legit. And it's not just somebody saying, oh, the city's handing out money, let's do
Yeah,
it.
Bookkeeping issues.
So we do check, some of the things, if they were a purchase order that was created last year, it's stored in the system, so, we do remember that if there was a previous purchase order and it just didn't get carried over.
And just a reminder, it's going to be 2 weeks till our next regular meeting, the 13th. And at that time, we'll have a recommendation because we've gone out for RFP. So,
I had one thing.
yes, sir.
And I should have mentioned all around. If you could look into talking to Robert
Yes, sir.
about, with the water department isolation valves, we put in 3 on this project, this road project we're doing. They were running $35,000 each. But where I'm getting at is that if we can pie up the city where it's 4 sections instead of shutting off the entire city just to fix one line. And maybe if we get these isolation valves, I know we have them out there, but a lot of them don't work, is what I'm saying. So they have to be replaced.
Some of them don't work, and then a lot of times we don't know where they are because our maps non-existent or terrible.
Or not,
But
right?
that should, with our updated, we should,
Asset management plan?
yeah, that should help some of that. But
It
the ones you don't know where are, you're just not gonna know where they are.
Until you have to find it.
But maybe we can move up that water line so we
Yeah.
can just one here to here, and then that way, let's say we're not, I'm gonna say hospital, we're not having, it doesn't affect the hospital, so we close this and that.
It would be great
The
to.
hospital's busy knocking holes in their own line.
Oh, yeah, good job.
It was like
We got too much water today.
the water main on Friday, they couldn't find valves. And finally, Roger Price told Ron and told Robert, like, no, it's down here around the corner and right down here, and it was. So unfortunately, that stuff, he said it had been documented, but it got lost. So we just have to redocument it, put it in the cloud, not have it on some dusty map nailed to the wall in the water department, something.
Rogers shop somewhere at his house. Did I say that? out loud? I was thinking that. I'm sorry.
Not to say something we thought in the future.
Yeah, it's.
How much water is in the hospital?
I don't know, but that tanker was 3,000 gallons. They installed it at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think by, when we got water at 9:45 a.m., they had gone through less than half. But they were on strict orders, flushing toilets only, not,
I was wondering if there'd be a way to put some tanks there, some reservoir tanks that
Mr.
would be used, the water would be fresh in there. It would be full at all
Stand by.
times.
Mr. Shaw has mentioned that underground storage tanks.
That way there, they would never run out of water within a period of time.
Do you want underground or would you want above?
I would think above, but I think he's probably looking at underground for scenic, out of sight, out of mind, but I'm with overhead.
Yeah, overhead is good. You could move it to another area of that community and feed it from a distance
Right.
with, instead of having, but we got to have the valves in place so we can shut that out, isolate that area.
And to stay on this topic and to answer a question the mayor asked earlier today, we have commissioned David Roybal and Pettigrew and Associates for doing a complete water field study for us. Half of it we can get in on the grant that's going to expire June 30th on the water field or water line improvements. The other half, we're going to have to go into county money, but it's $130,000. It's going to explore the options of the 3 Lee County Electric wells north of town. It's going to explore the option of having an alternate line come up the main from south of town. It's going to do pressure testing in the field for all our lines, so it's
And we're looking at
comprehensive.
those wells that we closed, the ones that were on our, for your water plan that said they need to clean out. You could use them.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna-
And then I gave them a copy of the latest 4-year water plan. So it's going to take about 9 months. We need to have it done, or we're going to go for future funding through the Water Trust Board, or, they're going to work on our water conservation plan. So it's a high ticket item, but we have to do it. I don't know how you prevent things like Friday from happening. It's not a maintenance issue, and we didn't even know the line was there. And it was a 10-inch line. So, but, exercising our valves, knowing where our valves are, better maintenance, replacing our pumps, having meters that actually read usage.
Replacing our infrastructure.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it is, but it needs to be done regardless. It hasn't been done in how many years?
Since 1912.
Yeah, since they installed.
One step at a time, one section at a time.
I mean, out at the wastewater treatment plant, we have the underground aeration tubes that flow from the blower. They're blowing holes. They're graters in the ground where the air is escaping.
Broke a water line, everything.
Did it?
On the back.
And Lord knows how much that's going to be, even if they run them above ground. So,
The only thing is above ground you can work on.
right.
No, it went.
But I appreciate everybody's patience. It was very frustrating as I was out of town, but
The one thing that I shouldn't say, took away from this, a lot of people were saying that the time that we put out that we were going to be working on it was different than the time that we
that
started.
is correct.
So and I know a lot of times you don't have that option. A lot of times we don't have that option.
So one of the things
thing
that
is, as far as, I know you
Right.
addressed it somewhat, trying to get stuff out there.
broadcasting the correct information.
Yes.
Monday morning quarterback, when I spoke to Robert today, I was like, you know what? We should have just let it leak and fixed it on Saturday. But that's Monday morning.
Yep. Yep, we got a lot of armchair quarterbacks, so it's how to do it after the fact.
Thank God for them.
That's one thing that I did see,
Yes, sir.
and I know it's kids ready for school.
It was, yeah.
Understandably, we didn't have school, but still, that's one thing that I would.
Yeah, we could have forecast that better. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We got to the office, or several of us got here about 7:40, and then we didn't open until 8, and we just, guys was like, phones are going crazy. I was like, I'm gonna answer it, and I'm gonna say stuff, and you'll just repeat what I say. Like, yes, we know, we're so sorry,
Yeah.
they're working on it, we will update our Facebook and our website, and, people were really gracious, there wasn't too many people that were terrible. As soon as they said, a lot of people were asking, did I pay my bill? Like, yes, you paid your bill, you're
The lady that called me that was
good.
upset about it, I just hung up on her.
So, well, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm in a ponytail and baseball cap too. I didn't shower either, so yeah, I get it, like.
Yeah.
It's all, we're all in this together. We're working on it.
It's a tough position. I mean, as long as we're communicating and on the same page, I think we'll get through it and be fine.
Well, it's like I made that list up, and I'm just going to keep it in my wallet, because pretty much if I didn't call them, every one of those entities called me at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's my job.
that was like my second call to answer was the jail. Yeah, the jail is the second call to answer. Yeah, if you want to add them to the list, even though hopefully the emergency management people let it know.
Who was it?
The jail.
You probably had the senior citizen. Good man.
Yes, I have them on.
Okay, I didn't.
And
But,
senior citizen.
but,
Yes, our senior center. They was one of the first ones that called me.
but overall,
Good Sam.
we think.
Yeah.
End result, I know, by everybody.
Well, the mayor caught it late in the afternoon and we didn't think it was
It's
gonna.
all my fault. I wouldn't even start.
Drove over and called.
All you have to do is.
Don't try to spend money.
You know, really, that's exactly what
Pressure.
I should have done.
Hold
So
pressure.
it was just like a little crater in the middle of my parking lot. And I'm like, I call the maintenance guy. Did you know we have a hole? And he goes, no. So he goes over and starts pulling the rock out and all this. And it's full of water. No, that's not good. So I called Robert because right after Miranda had left. And I called up and I said, hey, you might want to come move this. And then it turned into a real yes.
It just got worse and worse.
Well, they did a good job bedding it in rock.
I noticed that. Did you?
From bottom to top.
All the
Solid.
way, yes.
There was no bedding, nothing.
No.
Solid rock.
So
No sand.
Into the day.
Yeah, that pipe's been out of existence since 1950.
Yes. Well, and I think what I was telling you, I've been involved with that area for over 25 years. I put the asphalt on it close to 20 years ago. We didn't even know it was there. Neither did the water department. And if you look, it was 18 feet off the curb, so, or give or take.
Yeah.
So,
We never figured that.
yeah, exactly. So it was a learning moment for
Till it happens again.
everyone.
It's a 90-degree turn and goes like in the middle of the 9th Street.
Did you have anything further?
No, sir, unless anyone has.
Yeah, any questions? All right. I don't see anybody jumping up to go to the poll, so I'm gonna assume we'll about that public comment, brings us to action items.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-032. Approval of audit fiscal year 23 and financial statements.
Are we gonna discuss this or?
We can make a motion and we can second it.
Okay.
And we can go into discussion and do whatever we need to do there. And then if we need to make the correction somewhere there, I'll come back or whatever, but that at least opens up the floor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for consideration of this resolution. Any discussion?
So,
I'm assuming you're.
outside of findings, was there anything within the audit after Dion went over it that anyone had questions about or needed clarification?
What I'm asking is, as far as any of the findings that we have, they're on this paper here, as far as what we're doing, the correct findings.
Correct. So this is something new that Dion mentioned in her presentation with Department of Finance and Authority, that they now are asking you to, based on their review of the audit, you have to send in where you are, and they want backup documentation. They don't want you to just say what you're doing. So these are our responses to them.
We're working on it, doesn't.
No, the generic will get better, it doesn't
Better.
work anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, doesn't work. So, so we did, and, we addressed what we said we were gonna do in our corrective action, and then where we are at is basically what this was. The audit finding for purchasing, as we talked about earlier, we did some training with department heads, holding them a little more accountable to getting their purchase orders done. And there's been a major improvement from 58%, like 50% of our invoices being paid late and 58% not having a purchase order until after the invoice date. We're at 6.9% for both when I pulled the sample from our latest run to see how we were doing. I had also had a budget meeting with our department heads and had pulled a sample at that point, and it was probably like 13%, 11% at that point. So it's even getting, the trend is going downward, so it's good.
Well, they were told they were gonna be written up, and they didn't know a department head could be written up, so.
Well, I thought maybe it was other bloggings that were in it.
That might help.
No, it's crazy. Bank reconciliations, as these are being completed, I complete them, the deputy treasurer looks at them. We're also going to give them to David on a quarterly basis, just to be able to look over and see if there's any questions. The audit findings, I think the final, on the W-2s, the final thing we need to do is, as Liz pointed out last time, there was no taxable income in box one, and there should have been. And so we're looking at, Shannon got with Tyler on the setup and making sure that your wages are being shown as federal taxable withholding. You'll need to fill out W-4s just so we know here.
So they're probably gonna take more out.
I don't care. I can file electronically.
So that way next year you'll have the number in box one.
On the, before we move past 1B, or 2, you complete the previous month reconciliation in the current month, is that right?
Correct, like, right, I'm working on March right now. Yeah. And then the chief procurement officer, Melissa, was registered on December 12th before this ever came out. We did find a little error today. She had to recertify, and she had changed her name, and somehow with the name change, they had said she expired, but they're fixing it, so she's all good. But if you looked right now, it's not going to show her, but they said she is, and she's good.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So I thought you had 3.
We do, we can only name one.
Oh,
I am one, I passed the class, Cassidy also passed the class last couple weeks ago, so we have backups just in case there were anything were to happen, so. The coding error of wages, this should not even have been a finding, so I'm very, they cited it as that it resulted in para wages being overstated. It did not. The overtime code itself was coded right to show that it should not be, should not be subject to para, but the general ledger code showed it was a regular pay code, so they cited us, even though I showed them and proved to them that it did not result in para being overstated. So that's all those have been fixed. They all say overtime pay. Wendy and Melissa are checking those every time we run payrolls to make sure that they're right. The budget violations, we did a review. We did a budget adjustment. We'll continue to look at those more on a monthly basis as we get towards the end of the year. So if there's adjustments that need to be made, we can get them made before the final is submitted. Yeah, we've been doing, so we did it last quarter, and we'll look at it again as we're finishing up for this quarterly report. And then we'll also just kind of be looking on a monthly basis, or, there's things that come up that weren't in our original budget that we need, so. We'll do that.
That wasn't in there.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, exactly. And then the I-9s audit finding, I know that Cassidy's done a review of the I-9s, is that correct, Shannon?
Yeah, she's reviewing them.
Yeah, she's reviewing them, and then Shannon wants to have one other person just review them as well, make sure they're good to go.
Well, I do them because I'm the one signing them up, and then Cassidy is reviewing what I did.
Oh, on an ongoing basis. Okay,
Yeah.
so you'll have one other
She
person
can't
verify
submit
on an ongoing basis.
Another set
Make
of
sure
eyes.
one other person, another set of eyes.
So she'll, okay. I'm gonna add that into here on an ongoing basis. The late IPA recommendation, we have our audit RFP out currently. The proposals are due to us next Monday. The auditor recommendation off of those proposals we will bring to you at the commission meeting on May 13th. And so once approved, we'll submit to Fayette OSA on the 14th. It's due by May 15th. So we will hit that finding. All student reports have been submitted on. Sorry.
What does IPA stand for?
It's independent
That's
professional.
the beer down there. Charlie.
I know, it's what it reminds me of, it's an independent professional accountant.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's where you find them, it's at the bar.
Yeah.
Exactly, right.
It's IPA, OSA is Office of the State Auditor, so
That one actually is in, I was trying to come up with what IPA could
means,
be, the professional is, I guess.
yeah. And then the student reports, we'll attach copies of the student reports. They've all been filed timely. Debt payment, we've created a debt schedule. We just talked about one that's due here on May 18th. Chief Clark is going to get that in, and that Axon one that we were cited for last year.
That was me.
We will make on time this year.
Flogging?
Yes.
And then we did have a loan payment that was late this year, so I'm not sure that this won't be a repeat finding. That was before.
We've had trouble finding that we owed.
Yeah, so that's why we're creating the schedule. I think I have a good handle on all of our debt now. So now we'll be plugging in when things are due and when next payments are due. And I did find some,
Oh,
I did find some schedules and some documents, so that's very helpful too as well. And, you know, some stuff to keep better track of it, because it's stuff we have to submit with our budgets anyways. And then the payroll clearing account, it balanced to zero in October and November. As I was doing January, February, and March, it's gone out of balance again. So I'm gonna work with the accounting specialist to help her understand why it is and what she can do about it. And reconciliation she can do on her own. Give her some spreadsheets to create before the end of the month so she knows. Because right now it shows that if everything cleared, we'd be negative in our payroll account, which they just transfer money over, but we needed to balance to zero and not be negative or positive.
Be the same every time.
So we'll be working on that. Wendy also did an audit of all the billings for health insurance for EDC. It's the one EDC employee covered by the City of Lovington insurance plan. The audit of billings will be compared to payments. They haven't been paying what we've been getting billed by the insurance company, and they've been paying it at the end of the quarter, and the auditor said they need to pay it in advance. So as soon as we get the bill, we'll give them a bill. So if they want to pay 3 months in advance, they're welcome to, but they have to pay at least one. So we'll get those invoices created this week as well. On that one, the quarterly reports have been submitted on a timely basis. We have the emails that show that the first quarter was submitted on October 31st, and the second quarter was submitted on January 31st. So far, so good. And we'll be submitting the third quarter tomorrow. And so they asked, you know, why have your repeat findings not been addressed? And we just told them, you know, we just, yeah. And then resolution, you'll be approving the resolution. And part of the resolution is that you approve the audit and it's entirely including findings, so. And the mayor does have to sign this when we get it finalized, so we will be getting it out later this week.
The resolution requires all signatures.
Any questions?
you know, there's a couple of those that are ironic, like the debt payment, all right? If you don't have it in the budget, you get a finding for not having it in the budget. But if you don't have it in the budget, you don't know the pay. So one fix takes care of two problems, which is also the same on the repeat findings. If you don't know how to fix them, then you're gonna continue that. Anyway.
Yeah, but some of it's training too. There's some of the repeat findings were people that would refuse to do the thing. So through training, they were having training and employee modification or whatever you would call that, attitude adjustment. That's other repeat findings because we're going to do things that just because that's the way we cut it, we're going to change. So until you change that process or that thought, actually you're going to have those
Continue.
problems.
So, okay, so city manager, I think a schedule of floggings needs to be adopted.
I'll go first. I volunteer.
Oh, cheers, Drew.
No. Annette and her department have done a great job. We've come a long way.
So
We're still learning, but we're figuring it out and learning what we,
So you have the competition that goes, because the way our system is set up, with lack of bonuses and different things, you need an incentive to want to encourage people to change their actions, to do that, to do better. So the question to me is, what could we do as a city that would encourage the morale, and employees know that if their team didn't get POs, or did get POs and had a flawless year, what could be the reward, t-shirt, whatever, but something,
We could do that.
I mean,
A department competition.
department,
2 days off.
whatever.
That, say, we
Yeah,
didn't.
The whole department off.
Manager.
Once, right? Hey, have you driven around and seen one? I'll let her throw on anytime anyway. Take a city tonight.
I know
But-
that's something that we do.
Some incentives, yeah.
Because we joke about the flogging,
Yeah.
that works well with our children, but in real life, I mean, even my employees,
Are they not our children?
they are our children, unfortunately. But,
Yeah,
So-
it's a great league day, you know.
something that would be worthwhile to them to put the extra effort in,
So could we reach a citywide deal that you would, I'll give this an extra holiday? if we-
I hate holidays. I
Improve
don't even
No,
know how to do this.
but it only, you want to prove that physical year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way this year's and the next year goes to the same cycle.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is one of those, and we probably need to look at what we're allowed to do.
Yeah, that's
We're not
what
allowed
we
to
do.
do that.
We can throw it down. Ideas, we can do work.
You're not supposed to.
Okay, but that creating another audit finding doesn't.
That's what I mean. We've got to find something that motivates the individuals to want to do better
Yes.
and for some type of reward of some sort. I just don't know doesn't create a finding, doesn't create other grief somewhere down the road, doesn't create a full-blown strike,
Well, and one of the things that,
anti-donation,
one of the
So-
things we've talked about is we have credit card rewards, and there's things that you can get through the reward system.
Seriously, is that if the person's already?
Yes, for gifts and stuff, so we've been looking at that. I mean, it could be something that we also,
Two good ideas, but
I mean, it's gonna hurt.
we never thought of
Well, no, we just expect,
it.
demand,
Yeah.
So, and then, at least in the private industry, then you have bonuses, you have different options you can do, but the government side of it, you're limited on what you can do. But there's got to be something we can do that's within the parameters that they feel appreciated. Well, them bastards got shirts, we got shirts.
Yeah.
We're gonna try hard next year,
Exactly.
Yeah, they're petty things like that really make a difference.
I got a key of that.
Did you? Kill it. Have to water it, feed it.
Yeah.
Clean up after it.
Right,
Like
they
the
shield
children.
mass all the time.
we are doing budget meetings with department heads. Started those already as well. So we'll be coming up with a budget schedule to bring to the next meeting of when we have to have these before.
So we got auditor, insurance agent for the next meeting, county money coming, Maddox money coming, budgets, and then it's ICIP time again. Never stops.
This is Christmas here.
Yeah, we'll link it in over there.
Christmas and then the election. And then free time.
9 days.
Any other questions, discussion around the
That's
audience?
what I think.
So the question, since we're doing budgets and everything like that, and we have a very good handle this year, do we need to figure in some, and we have a little room, should we make our budgets a little better than normal?
Yes.
So we don't have to have as many adjustments, because, we run a super lean, beyond lean budget for quite a few years now.
Super lean, but slightly unrealistic.
Right.
This was obviously, the original budget for this year was very unrealistic, and we made some major adjustments to it, but we've also made some major improvements. City manager, making sure there's a new meter put in, at H.O. Sinclair is a huge difference in,
We got the second bill in, which they paid, and it's like 450,000 for a quarter of effluent water.
instead of around 15,000, which was sometimes their bill in the last couple of years.
So
So that's what you need to go to. They should be giving us like millions for
Well, no,
all the money we've saved them.
It's the money that we should have been getting the whole time, but through lack of discipline through our employees or effort or whatever the reason might have been, we weren't following through.
And to be fair, and so the commission knows, we have given raises here and there as we see fit to individual employees. I mean, people working here 10, 12 years that are still making $16 an hour, good employees to kind of correct that, but the budget's going to have to reflect that too.
Right, no, I remember those.
And there would be some budget adjustments related to some grants related to the agreement with the EMS for the ambulance services through Norley. And then just some, being able to hire
Full staff.
starting wages. We're trying to include all of those kinds of things into this budget to present.
A lot of numbers.
I mean, we found that instead of advertising for water or wastewater at 15, we put it out at 17, we filled 3 vacancies in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will lead to less turnover and they don't leave for the oil field, we get to keep them, so. Kind of an investment in the future, and right now, knock on wood, we can afford it. But the budget should totally reflect that.
Right, as long as our gross receipts stay and we have building projects and different things coming on, I see a stable market for the most part. No, even if oil and gas takes a tank, as long as we have construction going on, if the housing market takes off, it'll continue to help and keep that stable.
So, and that, on that note, I'm glad you brought that up. I got an email from Mike Gallagher that was addressed to myself and Manny Gomez from Hobbs today. He wants to see us in his office on Monday at 1:30 with the county lawyer to finalize what they're going to give us. So.
And having been through the ups and downs of budgets and good years and bad years, we know there have been bad years, and we're very aware that when you start raising like certain things, you have to, sometimes you get hit with those in the later years, but there's ways to address those. You address them through, automatic attrition and just, moving people around if you have to.
That flawlessly.
Hmm?
You said that flawlessly. No feeling at all. Sorry. God, it was awesome.
Can you tell I've lived through it a couple of times? I myself have.
The cold, heartless feeling of it was just impressive.
I myself have, left an organization and done consulting with them because I was the easiest one to, say, hey, you can't be without these other people. You gotta have, there's things you can do with a contract person, things you can't. So, you just, you prepare for them and we are still building in reserves and, different things. City manager and I have a bigger goal than what the state says that we need to do for reserves. So we're.
We want a year, so we can operate a year without zero GRTs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll take a while, but we'll get there.
Yep, they're almost there.
Can't get there,
Mhm.
start the process.
I figure if you're anywhere from 30 to 40% of a year, you're probably better off than anybody else.
Mhm.
So
I
here's
mean-
a big goal, just to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Because here's gonna be the problem with that, and this is my opinion, with that goal. Unfortunately, if you have that much in reserve, which the county does, which just chaps my ass, is the fact that then you're not utilizing my money to the best you can for your community because you're hoarding too much back.
Right.
My county roads are absolute garbage because they won't spend a dime on that crap. They're worried about a building or something else that they want to put people in. We got buildings all over the freaking state or county and they're wanting to build this building, fine, whatever, I don't care. But the fact that my county roads are in such disrepair and you won't spend a dime, so yeah, I got a sore spot. So I guess maybe decline.
I got a little PTSD on it.
Yeah, I know it is, but it is a complaint I do have because they have a large sum of money and they are not utilizing it the way I think they should.
I saw their preliminary budget at the meeting Thursday, and they are committing a big sum a month to county roads.
Yeah, but they're now I can, down south, you can't justify the money they're having to spend down there because of the oil field traffic and different things like that. But I mean, poor Chow, units are just suffering, so, but up here, the roads have been this bad for 25 to 30 years. So, and they haven't done anything but throw some chips and material out, throw a couple of rocks down. Come on,
Even the
guys.
roads are almost here, where they want to show off for that.
Yeah. So, but, okay, that's my 2 cents. So, but that's what I'm saying. That, to me, it seems it's a great goal, but I just.
There's a flip side.
There's a flip side.
And
So,
also the holding it.
Because,
Yeah.
If it takes out, man, I'm telling you.
well,
it can-
so we have, as of tonight, 19.4 million in the bank. If you want to say half of that is encumbered,
Right, yeah.
that's almost $10 million, where our GRT part of our budget is 12. So we're more than 50% there today.
So.
Not, but like Ms. Cooper said, I mean, the minute, we watch oil, the GRTs, the minute we start to see something, we're going to tap the brakes. Attrition, whatever projects that aren't funded.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of construction going on in all the state, somewhat steady. So we've been blessed the last 3 years, but man, we just, construction's
we've
going
been
to
there.
end sometime. Hopefully it's done, but
Or the next,
oil and gas, or
the next COVID.
yeah.
so, like I assure you, when I came on the board, we got about 40% in the funds, and that was pretty good. But then, as things went on, we stayed that course of just real tight budget. People started complaining because we weren't doing this for the parks, we weren't doing this, so we started spending that money. And then at the same time, our gross receipts were going down because we weren't monitoring our invoicing and billing and different things like that. And so we were spending more and our numbers were never right. So it's having the whole complete package
Right.
together that makes it a more foreseeable pattern and makes it a more livable community. We just didn't have that and didn't realize we didn't have that for
Yeah.
multiple years.
Right. And we have a lot of department heads who in their meetings have, they want and love the progress we're making and so they're putting forth the projects, and things need to be done, so.
But just in good times or bad, I mean, to have your internal house in order is everything. So,
You guys plan on staying here at least 3 more years?
But
Well, I'm just saying, at least a year and a half, that way I'm home. Or after that, you can be over. You guys can go ahead.
you're right here with it all the way.
I gotta get this housing thing done, so get me a house. October 31st, I don't have a place to live again, so we got it.
Right now,
There's nothing-
right now, we're $2,000 a month.
Oh,
All right.
All right, back to the audit.
oh, and if any commissioners have any input on auditors or recommendations, because I think we're just going to bring you a recommendation at the next meeting. Unless
It's in-house audit. In-house audit, like where they show up their staff.
We put that as a.
Because it's it's a learning, I mean, because they come in there and then they kind of help you and then talk to you, this is why I'm doing this. That over the internet, it's just all based on.
It's way less time on our part for them
Yeah.
to, if they come in person. Because
They know what they're doing.
not having to scan everything in is having
You
to
get
take
it
the time
right
to
the
do
first
that.
time because they'll go help you find it. You know?
I think we're looking for an auditor that's going to be a partner rather than
A wall?
Yeah, you missed me.
just help us along the way.
Anything, Mayor?
I'm sorry.
Should we go?
I'm ready. Anything further? If not, then, oh,
excuse me. Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
yes. All right, with that, the item of the agenda is exhausted. All right. Everybody?
Have a sign. Okay, we'll start over here.
Just give me the 34.